Club de Fútbol Universidad Nacional AC, commonly known as Pumas de la U.N.A.M., U.N.A.M. or just as Pumas, is a Mexican professional football club based in Ciudad Universitaria. Club Universidad Nacional represents the National Autonomous University of Mexico, and plays their home matches at Olímpico Universitario Stadium, located on U.N.A.M's main campus. Universidad Nacional is one of the most popular clubs in Mexico. They have won 7 Primera División championships and 4 international titles. The team is also known for their youth development system, which has produced international players such as Enrique Borja, José Copyright Luis González La Calaca, Hugo Sánchez, Manuel Negrete, Luis Flores, Miguel España Claudio Suárez, Luis García, Alberto Garcia Aspe, David Pacia Jorge Campos, Gerardo Torrado, Braulio Luna, Rafael Márquez Lugo, Efraín Juárez, Copyright Héctor Alfredo Moreno, and Pablo Barrera. Los Pumas, Club Universidad Nacional was originally an amateur club made out of college students from the university's several schools and then became into a professional team competing in the leagues of Mexican football. Since its founding, the U.N.A.M have evolved into one of the most popular Mexican teams and have gained an international following. The team's blue and gold colors were selected as a tribute to the University of Notre Dame, whose football coaches helped to develop an American-style football team at the university. The nickname was inspired by Roberto Topacio Mendes, who coached the team from 1946 to 1964 and whose motivational speeches often compared his players to Pumas. The nickname stuck with the public, and ever since all the athletes representing the university have been called Pumas. Their home ground is the Estadio Olímpico Universitario, which was the setting for the 1968 Summer Olympics. It has a capacity for 62,700 fans and is within the university, allowing it to be very close to its main supporters, the students. The Pumas also have training facilities within the university, but their main complex is the Cantera, located near the university. History: the early days, 1930s and 40s, in the first decades of the 20th century, the most popular sport among the U.N.A.M student body was American football, although association football was becoming a stronger presence on campus. In 1927, the dean of the university, Luis Chico Gun, made the first attempt to affiliate a representative of U.N.A.M to the top football Mexican championship of the day, by filing a petition to join the Liga Mayor de Fútbol Profesional del Distrito Federal. The petition was rejected in favor of Club Marte de Morelos. By the 1940s, the dean Gustavo Baz Prada assigned the task to prepare the U.N.A.M representative to Rodolfo Buchmüller Oz, then player of Club Espa A. The new manager formed its new team with members of the student body of the many schools and faculties of the university. The U.N.A.M representative joined many university tournaments, with successful results, and Buchmüller Oz went on to manage the team for 13 years. This prepared the team to complete their later transition to professional status. Establishment: 1950s. In August 1954, the Club Universidad was accepted as a member of the Segunda División, in those days the second-tier division of professional football in Mexico. This achievement was accomplished with the support of the Dean Narba Carrillo and Guillermo Aguilar Alvarez Sr., a benefactor of the club. Aguilar Alvarez was appointed by the Dean as the chairman of the club. On September 12, 1954, U.N.A.M played its first professional game, an away match against Compare Monterrey. The transition was not easy after only 3 years. Club Universidad requested a special permit to leave the Segunda División for a year while they underwent a rebuilding process. The process was completed within the year. Héctor Ortiz was appointed as the new manager of the club, and a board of patrons was formed. The promotion, 1960s. After 8 years in the Segunda División, U.N.A.M finally achieved its objective and won promotion to the Primera División. Club Universidad won the promotion on January 9, 1962 by defeating Club Catalunya ± a de Taricubden by a score of 5-1 in Ciudad Universitaria. At the end of the game the celebration was moved from the stands to the pitch when the fans invaded the field to congratulate their heroes, and carried the players on their shoulders. This was the first step towards the consolidation of the club. The following day, the team was received and congratulated by the Dean Ignacio Carvez. Octavio Vile, the manager that led the team to win the promotion, and the players. Humero Villa, Raúl Chanz, Jose Copyright Antonio La Espatula Rodriguez, Alfredo Echeverri, Jose Copyright Ruiz, Carlos Gutierrez, Alfredo Tito Zenteno, Jose Copyright Luis El Chango Ledesma, Antonio Zarmano, Jorge Gaeta N, Guillermo Vaz Quezsr, Jose Copyright Luis González La Calaca, Lorenzo García, Carlos Caldera Cubden de la Barca, Manuel Manolo Rodriguez, Edmundo El Polipa Copyright Res, and Gustavo El Gato Cuenca became important characters in the history of the club. Once the team had established itself in the first division, the Board of Patrons took one of the most important decisions in the history of the club, deciding to create a modern youth system to develop new generations of players. The legend begins, 1970s, after 2 years under the management of Alfonso El Pescado Portugal, the Spaniard Angel Zubitar took the reins of the team. In doing so, he opened the door to foreign reinforcements, but he also gave continuity to the tradition of the club of employing players that had been trained in its youth system. The first half of the decade was marked by the arrival of 3 of the most important foreign players in the history of the club. The Peruvian Juan José Copyright Mura ± Anti, the Serbian Velibor Bora Milutinovia, and Iván Evaldo Castro Cabanu. They arrived to join a solid base of Mexican players such as Miguel Majaya Barracubden, Ha Copyright Cta Sanabria, Arturo Valzquez Ayala, Jose Copyright Luis Parilla La Cubed Pez, and Leonardo Cuellar. In the second half of the decade those same players would give the club its first titles in the top division. In 1975 the club adopted a new administration consisting of an independent civil association that helped the university to support the club. In the 74-75 season, Universidad won the Copa Mar Copyright Zico and the Campeonato de Campeones. In the 76-77 season, Club Universidad became league champion for the first time in its history. That championship was followed by 2 sub-championships. The culmination of a successful decade for Club Universidad came with the debut of Hugo Sánchez. Consolidation, 1980s. In the 1980-81 season, Universidad won its second league championship. That season was also the last season Hugo Sánchez played for the club. In the following season, the Pumas won the CONCACAF Championship and the Inter-American Cup. This decade also marked the national recognition of the work performed by the club, and the revolutionary and dynamic style of play that helped Mexican football overall. For the 1986 FIFA World Cup, the Mexican Football Federation appointed the manager of Universidad, Velibor Bora Milutinovia, as the manager of the Mexico national football team. Milutinovia called numerous Pumas and former Pumas to the nation team, including Hugo Sánchez, FAR Copyright Lix Cruz Barbosa, Rafael Amador, Raúl Cervén, Miguel España Manuel Negrete and Luis Flores. This generation of players gave great satisfactions not only to the followers of Pumas, but also to the Mexican football fans. Ups and downs, 1990s. This decade began with one of the most celebrated championships in club history, the 1990 Euro 91 League Championship against arch-rivals Club Arma Copyright Rica. A new generation of players arrived, including Luis García, Jorge Campos, Claudio Suárez, Antonio Sancho, Israel La Cubed Pez, Braulio Luna, Rafael Garcia, Jaime Lozano, and Gerardo Torrado. This decade is, however, considered as one of the least successful in terms of championships and development of players. Towards the end of the decade, Hugo Sánchez became manager of the club for the first time. Success, 2000s. In 2004, UNCHEZ led the Pumas to their first championship in 13 years. The Pumas were able to retain the championship later that year, becoming the first team since the Mexican League was split into 2 seasons to win back-to-back championships. As of summer 2012, they remain the only team to achieve this feat. Along with 2 domestic titles, the Pumas were also able to win both the Campeón de Campeones. In 2005, the Pumas reached the Copa Sudamericana final, where they lost to Boca Juniors in a penalty shootout when Roberto Abondancieri controversially stopped a penalty after having been forgiven a red card for handling the ball outside the penalty box, denying a Pumas player a clear chance on goal. Domestically, the Pumas struggled after their 2004 success and, by 2006, were facing the threat of relegation. Tuca Ferretti was appointed as manager that year in an effort to lead Pumas away from the relegation zone. The stability and discipline that Ferretti brought to the team paid off as the Pumas climbed out of the relegation zone and reached a final in 2007 against Atlante, which they lost 2-1 on aggregate. In 2009, Ferretti once again led the Pumas to a final, this time being victorious against Pachuca in extra time to claim the team's 6th championship. In 2011, Pumas became champions of Clausura 2011 tournament, winning their 7th championship against Monicas Morelia. Rivalries: Universidad has strong rivalries with Arma Copyright Rica and Cruz Azul. These games are passionate and followed by the whole city. There is also a more recent rivalry with Guadalajara and UDG, Clásico Capitalino. The rivalry with Club Arma Copyright Rica, compared to the others, is quite old and began during the 60s, when Universidad won its promotion. The mere fact that both clubs are located in Mexico City generated the right atmosphere to see a rivalry born and grow. A few years later Arma Copyright Rica bought U.N.A.M idol Enrique Borja, even though the player had made a public statement that he did not want to be sold to Arma Copyright Rica. In the 80s the rivalry grew when Arma Copyright Rica defeated Universidad twice in the league finals, both times with controversial refereeing decisions. The 90s began with a victory of the Pumas over their rivals in the league finals, although it was actually a tie. The first leg was lost 3-2, and only the second leg was a 1-0 win. The aggregate score was 3-3, but U.N.A.M scored 2 goals as the visiting team, giving them the edge. A new generation of players from the youth system grew up hating their adversaries. This decade is also marked by the birth of Las Barras Bravas, who supported both sides but had a much longer background story of rivalry. This rivalry is often referred to as the most violent of Mexico, with security measures exceeding those of any other game. Clásico Universitario, UG vs U.N.A.M, U.N.A.M vs Cruz Azul. The rivalry with Cruz Azul comes out of the fact that both clubs are located in Mexico City, and they have played many important matches, including 2 league finals. Historic badges. Past kits: First kit evolution, players, first team squad. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. For recent transfers, see List of Mexican football transfers winter 2013 Euro 14. Out on loan, reserve teams. Pumas Naucalpan, reserve team that plays in the Segunda División in the 3rd level of the Mexican league system. Honors, domestic tournaments, Mexican Primera División, 7. 1976-77, 1980 Euro 81, 1990 Euro 91. Clausura 2004, Apertura 2004, Clausura 2009, Clausura 2011. Segunda División de Mar Copyright Zico, 1. 1961 Euro 62. Copa Mar Copyright Zico, 1. 1974 Euro 75. Campeón de Campeones, 2. 1975, 2004. International tournaments, CONCACAF Champions Cup, 3. 1980, 1982, 1989. Copa Interamericana, 1. 1981. Copa Sudamericana, 0. Runner-up, 2005. Friendly tournaments, Copa Universidad Nacional A Copyright Rica, 1. 2000. Trofeo Santiago Bernabé Copyright U.N.A.M. 2004. Best Games. National 9-0 vs UAG May 16, 1976, Apertura 2007, 8-0 vs Veracruz, Apertura 2002, 7-1 vs. Best Games. Best International Score, 8-0 vs AD Isidro Metapa in March 2008, CONCACAF Champions League, 6-1 vs Maratha Cubed in March 2010. Best Position in the Tabla General 1, Worst Position in the Tabla General 19th during Winter 2001, External links. Spanish, Universidad Nacional Official Website, Spanish, U.N.A.M Official Website, References.